I'm Walker&Williams, and today I have the absolute honour of being with a super heavyweight in the crypto arena, Dr. Paolo Tasca. Originally sceptical of blockchain technology when he first discovered it in the late part of 2010, saying at the time, in fact, that he thought maybe it's just something for children. Since then, he's co-authored several books and is now a world-leading expert and advisor to governments, central banks, the United Nations, and even UN Parliament. He is a professor of emerging digital technologies and business strategy at University College London, and it is here that he founded what is now the largest blockchain-based research centre on planet Earth, UCL BCT. And these are just a few of his amazing accomplishments to date, and he's Italian, so he's probably an amazing cook. Paolo, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Come sta? How are you?
Bene, thank you very much. Very glad to be here. I like to eat more than cooking.
Same as me. Yeah, man of my heart. Yeah, fantastic. So, tell us a little bit about your background then. Who are you? Where did you grow up? You know, tell me a little bit about your background.
So I'm an economist, as you say, by background. I've been trained as my first training was in politics and economics, and then in quantitative finance before my PhD in business. But strange enough, at the mid part of my PhD, I joined the complex network team at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Switzerland, and I spent there 6 years. So this team was basically composed of computer scientists and physicists and mathematicians, and with them I tried to dive into the econophysics models. So I tried to apply models that were coming from physics to understand economic dynamics. And this was very helpful and super useful, especially methodologies like graph theory, network theory, which then was really straightforward applicable to the blockchain when it came to the market, because a blockchain is simply a network of computers or peers. So applying these type of tools and methodologies was really useful for me.
Yeah, it was a good fit as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, I did quite a bit of research. Then I joined the Central Bank of Germany for 2 years and a half. Indeed, it was I think an interesting period, because it was, I think, around 2011, 2012. It was an interesting period because in Europe we had a so-called sovereign debt crisis with the Greek problem, and the Troika had to jump in and so on. So the Central Bank of Germany called me because I developed through this econophysics model a tool to measure the and identify the systemically important financial institutions or banks, and they wanted to apply this to the European markets, and it was an interesting period enough, because at the same time in Switzerland with a group of people I already started to look into crypto and blockchain, and not just research, but I started to build up my first startup in this space.
Oh right, okay.
Yes, it was interesting because I was a central banker in Germany.
Yeah.
And disruptor in
entrepreneur in Switzerland.
At the same time.
So you've got 2 passports and 2 identities, doing 2 completely different lives.
Yes.
Wow. How did that play out? Yeah. What was that like?
Very funny period because we did work quite a lot to create a cryptocurrency exchange. Basically, at that time, if you remember, there were not many cryptocurrency exchanges like we have now.
No. They weren't, and they were very hard to use at the time as well. Yeah.
You remember Mt. Gox?
Yes.
And the collapse. I was one of the people that had the money there stuck into that.
I'm sorry if you lost. Yeah.
From this frustration, we with a team of friends and colleagues from ETH Zurich, we started this project. And we were successful to get the approval by FINMA, which is the Financial Market Authority, to be authorized to transact and to have a crypto. We were allowed to do crypto to crypto and crypto to fiat by 2012, 2013. Wow. And this came to the news quite a lot. So it was a bit of a good thing. And since I was also a central banker in Germany, I had to stop that project and explore the direction moving beyond central bank. The problem with it was an interesting period of my life. The only thing I felt at that time was a limitation in the exploration, because when you are at the central bank in the research area, you are limited in the scope of your research. So I wanted to explore more the potential of blockchain. So it was at that time that I was conceiving to move to UCL, to University College London, and to set up the Center for Blockchain Technologies. And that's what I did afterwards.
And did you approach UCL, or were they looking to set this up?
I did.
You approached them with the idea?
Yes.
Wow.
I was thinking about going back to ETH Zurich, or to another university. I was thinking that to be successful in the blockchain space, you don't just need a good scientist, but you need also a community that can embrace these movements. And I thought that London was perfect, because I was thinking that blockchain was directly connected to financial markets at the first, and indeed that's what happened, right? So, and
infrastructure.
Yes.
London is massively developed, isn't it?
So I contacted them, say, listen, I had a weak connection at the UCL, and I proposed them to set up a center. I asked them if they had a center, because I didn't know.
Yes.
I didn't find. So I told them, listen, I'm willing to set up the center if you want and run the center. And then we submitted an application. I was still living in Germany back in time. And after, I think, almost 1 year, we got the approval from the UCL and say, okay, come over now and run the center. But of course, from a university large like UCL, it was a kind of reputational also risk to put on the table. And therefore, I was challenged quite a lot. Because I was asked to secure funding, industry funding for the center, which was a good challenge, which I took with a good positive attitude, and enable us indeed through this to secure many deals with the industry leaders, even governments and United Nations, as you mentioned before.
Fantastic. Congratulations. It's amazing to start something from afresh. Is really, really impressive. And so what changed? Because you were skeptical, weren't you, in late 2010 when you discovered? I read that right.
That's true.
Was there a light bulb moment, or was it just gradual research? What changed your mind about the technology, that this isn't something just for kids or something throwaway?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an old man, I'm in my mid-40s, and I remember Second Life and all these things, and the Lindell dollars, and I was thinking that Bitcoin was a kind of exactly like coin for kids that want to do some online game. But I was surrounded by a really exciting environment back in time in ETH, very smart people, younger than me, and they were kind of very much passionate about this. And I was observing this from different angles, from an entrepreneurial point of view, as I'm coming from an entrepreneurial family, and from the research point of view, and I was trying to understand a little bit more. When I realized that in the whole market, that 75-80% of the whole transactions were basically channeled through this single cryptocurrency exchange Mt. Gox, I say, okay, now we need to do something here. And if we have the brain to do it, we have the knowledge, we have the expertise, we are scientists, so we can do it. So that was the motivation for me to jump. I was a kind of driven both by the motivation to do something for the community, and to do something even in terms of research, because the beauty of the blockchain, the beauty of the crypto is that the data is there. You don't need to pay any bank. You don't need to pay Elon Musk to get the tweets you want to analyze. You don't need to pay anyone. The data is there. You just need to take and analyze this. And from the analysis of the blockchain economy, you can even infer interesting things for the real economy. So that was my motivation.
Right, okay, that's interesting. Now, a lot of people, I know we haven't got much time together today, unfortunately, and so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but a lot of people will be curious, even more curious, if I don't mention the fact that you were one of the co-founders of the Quant network, and I know you've moved on since, so I don't, history is history, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but can you just touch on that, please?
Yeah, that was an interesting period. I think it was 2016 when I met Gilbert Verdian, who is still CEO. He approached me with back of an envelope calculation about an idea, and I helped him to develop the idea on what then it turned to be Overledger, this new technology that we then later on patent. It was an interesting period because we try to address one of the major challenges that are still there, which is basically blockchain interoperability. And I think we found an interesting solution. Not the only solution. There are other solutions that try to solve the same problem, but I think we were kind of a pioneer in that respect in that years back. I'm talking about 5 years ago, right? So more or less. So I think it was an interesting experience. Then I move on for other reasons because the market was remember 2017, 2018 very exciting, and there were a lot of things going on, and I had many other projects. So I move on to other projects, but I still think that they have quite good potentials to succeed in the market as a company. I don't follow them regularly anymore. No. I don't know very much. I'm not updated very much on their technological progress anymore. But for what was my experience, I think the roots was very solid. So
okay, they've got a very solid team as well, haven't they?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that. You said in an interview about 6 years ago that it will take decades and decades for the infrastructure of blockchain technology to enable mass adoption. 6 years later, do you still think that's true, or do you think that the market is accelerating quicker than the industry is accelerating quicker than you thought it would?
No, I mean, it's still true. I mean, blockchain is a foundational technology. You cannot compare blockchain with the invention of the mobile phone or the invention of the tablet, because these were incremental innovation based on the Bell telephone that was in the 19th centuries. So we need to think of blockchain as a foundational technology. So and this takes decades to really change how we operate. If you look at the applications on the top of this, then it's something different. So we have seen quite interesting movements in the last years with respect to the NFT adoption, the art community moving massively into the concept of digital art, Web3, and it's interesting what is happening there, because generally the art community is really forward-looking with respect to the new innovations. So I think that with respect to the blockchain now, we have an interesting phase in front of us, which is the work that has been done in the last years by many central banks around the concept of central bank digital currency. This will be a game changer because will enable to create to have this railway on the top of which even a retail user can use to have access to central bank money and have access to additional services that on the top of this can be added. So I think that will be the next big thing.
There's a risk there too, though, isn't there? By design almost, and a lot of people are nervous about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Do you think CBDCs and IDs and everything else that will probably be built on top, do you think that will empower governments or empower people? Or are they not mutually exclusive? Because there's a lot of people in the space that believe blockchain technology is going to be used against people in the form of tracking, identification, and so on.
Yeah, this is a good question, right? So, it depends, right? It depends because depend on the political agenda, depend on the on the agenda of the different countries. I can see that few countries may have maybe more prone to go toward one direction than the other. There is a real critical problem when you need to define the I think you're referring to this the barrier between supervision and
it's freedom and control
and privacy.
That's
right?
the problem. It's freedom and control. It's the freedom to do as you wish peer to peer, but if it's on a blockchain and it's issued by a government, then there's the potential that they can control.
Yeah.
And that's the issue.
Yes. So there is this very, very, very soft limits between control of and governance, if you want, and supervision of the activities, and privacy violation or interferences with the private activities.
It's not
surveillance even.
Yes, exactly, and it's not even just privacy. I mean, there was I'd read a paper by somebody in China that was saying that they were nervous that the Chinese government would be able to say that you could write code that said that smart contract code that said that you wouldn't be able to spend money after a certain time, which would incur a curfew without any soldiers on the streets or anything else, because you can't get anywhere, you can't buy anything, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
And so there are real risks, aren't there? And it just, myself included, I believe in general that the general consensus of most governments around the world is that they're there to help and protect their people.
Yeah.
But it's a heck of a lot of power, if I'm wrong, that they will have in their hands. So do you think there's anything that could be done to mitigate that, or?
Well, I would like to be more positive on this, right?
Yes.
I would like really much to be more positive, but the answer is really depend on the political agenda.
It depends where you live, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't let me say more than this.
Okay.
Because really, in CBDC, for example, you have this discussion that is happening for years now about should we have a CBDC? I'm talking about retail CBDC. Should we have a CBDC that is look more like a bank account or look more like a cash? So, okay, what is the difference between a bank account and a cash? Well, privacy. That's all that. Privacy. Do you want privacy or don't you want privacy? Do you need privacy? I mean, there is a conflict here, which is the conflict between the private user that want privacy in any transaction we do, and the need for the government to monitor illicit traffic, to monitor illegal activity through transactions, monitoring. So this is basically the conflict that is happening here.
Yes.
And it's not easy to solve.
It's a very hard balance, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to be in the room trying to decide where to draw that line. It's very interesting. Do you think Bitcoin has helped or hindered the mass adoption of blockchain?
Yes, of course.
You think it's helped?
Yes, of course.
Right, okay.
Of course.
Well, the way I say hindered is because of because of the Silk Road and the history of it, some would argue that potentially, and because of the community, and sometimes there's a toxic community around the technology itself, of course the technology is agnostic, but it's the community around it, alienates the masses. But you believe that in the whole, Bitcoin has helped with mass adoption of blockchain technology?
Yes, I'm very much in favor of Bitcoin. To be frank with you, the Dirty Cents Foundation that we just launched this month, the main aim of this foundation is to break this equation. Crypto is bad, blockchain is good.
Yeah.
Crypto is bad. I have heard so many times these things. It's not true. It's not true. What you say is just coming from the perception that we have of the events that occur in the last years.
Yeah.
And the events that occur in the last years, like scammers, Ponzi schemes, frauds, and so on and so forth, are basically being orchestrated by people using old-fashioned schemes to exploit the so-called information asymmetry between them that are the experts in the new tech sector, like crypto, and the mass that do not have access to that type of information.
Yes, of course.
And we want to break this by reducing this the information pollution that exists in the crypto market. Yeah. If you reduce the information pollution, if you remove asymmetry information, then you will see that crypto is good, blockchain is good, and of course Bitcoin is the anchor of all this.
I'd go one step further actually and say that blockchain isn't either good or bad, it just is. Much like email, when email first came out, people were being scammed all over the place with scam emails and things, but it's just the people behind the technology. You know, you can use fire to heat your home or burn somebody else's down. And so
we can go back with the new inventions. Even when the train was invented for the first time, there were some train going off rail, and then the train industry was stopped for I think for a few years because everybody was against this new technology because it could have killed people. So there is always a kind of a difficult attitude from the mass adoption to understand this. But the difference between the past is that we are talking about ICT technology. ICT technologies are very, difficult to perceive by the mass.
What was the word you used there? Sorry, what technologies?
The ICT technologies.
ICT technologies.
Because if you think about what is our relationship with the current ICT technology we have in our fingerprint, like the mobile phone or the computer, we have not been educated enough by the institutions to handle this risk, and therefore we the same for crypto. Then, if you talk to people, they fear the risk of being defrauded by someone. But this is a matter of education, because the risk that in the immaterial world happen, we don't see them until when they do materialize. So if someone steals your password of your computer and start digging into your stuff, you don't realize that someone stole your password until when the password is changed by this guy.
Yeah. And
this can be too late. So we don't perceive the risk, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's why we as a scientist, we as an educator, we need to jump in and educate the community to understand the pros and the cons and mitigate all these risks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not asking you to predict the outcome, because I guess unless you know something that the rest of us don't, then anybody's guess is as good as anybody else's. But how do you see the outcome of the lawsuit between the SEC and Ripple affecting the wider industry? So positive or negative or neutral, in fact, how do you see it creating clarity, or do you see it creating real problems?
Yeah, I think no one can read the future, right? So,
unfortunately,
but I have a comments, because I've been observing an observator of not just this lawsuit or trial, but an observator of what the regulators around the world have been doing over the last years. I've been a central banker myself in the past, so I've seen. Many things happening, not necessary for the betterment of the industry. Mm-hmm. I've seen many regulators jumping in with the new rules in an industry that was a target moving targets. So I refer, for example, to the state of New York when they issued the rule back in time. It was not really helping the industry, and they really destroyed the industry in that state, and they move out. So I think that there is a kind of unfair judgment by some of the regulators with respect to the crypto industry have been in the last years with respect to the fact that this is a moving target, and until when is not clear what exactly is the industry that you want to regulate, is very difficult, very dangerous to set rules that stifle such type of innovation. I have seen a lot of regulators even taking it personally and making strong claims about crypto, saying that all the cryptos are securities, and taking it very personally by stopping a journalist that was interviewing this person many times, saying no, all the crypto are securities. And I was astonished when I watched that interview, because the person is Gary Gensler, and I didn't expect this from Gary Gensler. So because he's also coming from a university, so I think a more objective approach, a more distant approach, and an analytical approach to this problem, I think would help more, instead of making these strong judgments up front, not help anyone. So I know that regulators and central banks face difficult challenges over the last years, because the crypto industry, they are not just challenging them with the need, if you want, to design a CBDC and to bring to the market CBDC somehow to compete with the private industry, but they are challenging their foundation, their fundamentals, and they are challenging their role within the financial system. So, and they need to rethink what the role of the central bank is as a whole, not just CBDC. And I think this was a bit kind of a source of stress for many regulators, and given this, jumping too early with rules and bold statements, like I mentioned just now, do not help the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very hard. It's always concerning when you hear somebody of such authority saying something is all something or all nothing, because there are so many different nuances. It'd be much better, I believe, to list a criteria, and if you meet that, then you are something. And if
we are in a complex, evolving, dynamic system, as much as complex as these years we never seen before. So we are basically collecting, storing, and using so many data these days that in the last years, basically much more than in the 10 years before. So this is a complexity of data requiring new technologies, and new technologies are advancing, like blockchain and AI, etc. So blockchain is simply a technology that helps to process data between peers, not just money, and we need to embrace this. So the fact that we are living in this complex environment is a matter of fact.
Yeah.
We simply need to accommodate this, and probably we need to even change our traditional institutional framework to to empower these dynamics to blossom. And I'm really happy to see that some jurisdiction took these steps. For example, I've seen some jurisdiction creating new regulatory body, adopt design to work together with the crypto industry. For example, Vara in Dubai.
Yeah.
So because they say, okay, we want specialists, we want to help the industry to grow, to expand. We want also to provide them some potential sandbox program and all they need, and therefore we want not to use a regulator which has been established and being designed under a different world.
The old world, yeah.
Yes, which was
yes.
basically the stock market world that was invented 100 years ago, 200 years ago. So, because otherwise it's like comparing, applying a metric, the same metric that was used in the past to monitor or to assess the stock market to the crypto market. It would be like to say, okay, the crypto is like a car with the wheels. It's not with the wings. It's not
or the horse
like
to the car.
Yes.
Yes. It's like trying to use horse rules for cars.
Yes.
It's crazy.
You need to really redesign things and invent new metrics that accommodate for these dramatical changes. Is a matter of fact. The technology is here, and we cannot simply apply all metrics that was applied years and decades before these new technologies were invented. So.
You're absolutely right. I think I read in the Life Scientific that all of the information produced on Earth last year was more than all of the information produced since the beginning of man. So we stored more information last year than we have done all time put together, which is mind-blowing. And then they project it's going to double this year from last year.
Yeah, if you think about this, if you think about 5G, if you think about Internet of Things, if you think about machine to machine or machine to human communication,
AI and metaverse and
all this technology is a matter of fact. They are changing our world, and of course we need to change also our institutions that govern the world. We cannot use the same frameworks as in the past
to regulate this new stuff. It just won't work. Yeah. So UCL is of course a governing council member of Hedera Hashgraph, and you are clearly the driving force behind that. So, how did you discover Hedera Hashgraph?
Well, they did discover us.
Sorry?
They did discover us.
Sorry?
They did discover us.
No. How did you discover Hedera Hashgraph, and then Hedera Hashgraph discovered UCL? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, really? They contacted you?
Yes.
Oh, good for you. Well done. I didn't know that. Right. Okay. So how? So that's how you discovered them.
Limo flew over from US here to London to meet me.
So they didn't say, "Oh, there's a phone for you, Paolo." There's a guy called Lehman.
They flew here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And said.
And he explained He explained to me Hashgraph.
Yeah.
And the project about Hedera. They had I was not aware about Hedera to be frank before meeting Lehman.
Yeah. When was this? Sorry,
I think it was 2019.
Okay, probably. So a few years ago,
Yeah. So he explained about Hashgraph. Of course, Hashgraph is an interesting new technology. I was not aware, so I read the white paper, and Lehman then explained the concept about the council. It was an interesting concept that I never seen done before in the crypto market. So I say, okay, let me know more about this. So he was explaining to me how this governance council members work together in the different different working group and meetings, what they want to achieve. And he explained to me that this was basically the first phase before moving toward to a more open network of community nodes. So we have been talking with other council members back in time, and we were basically convinced that this was the right partner for us, from UCL, to join. So providing our intellectual knowledge, helping them with our skills and our research and our activities. So that's what we have done since 2019.
And what do you think the role of the Governing Council is in the Hedera ecosystem now that it's gone open source and of course Lehman Manson, a lot of the devs from Hedera have gone to Swirls.
Yeah.
So my understanding is now that really the Governing Council and the board, the Hedera board, govern the network. But what does that look like? What does that mean to you? Is that correct, and is that how you see it?
Yeah, I think, there is this, transition happening, which is not completed. And there are new things that are going to happen in the next months that will push the data ecosystem toward a even more decentralized phase. As of now, I see that the Governance Council is taking more and more responsibilities. We are quite engaged about this. We are quite excited about this. Of course, these require a bit of restructuring in terms of the roles of the people and the interaction between people. But so far, we have been working very well together, and we are happy that the idea of Brett and Lemon and Mans to expand further gave also origin to the DLT Science Foundation, which is the third foundation that they did empower. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a really interesting step, because we are going to be kind of objective and taking kind of a scientific approach to help not only that but the overall blockchain community. Fantastic. And I think it makes sense when you expand from a centralized organization to a decentralized organization to also englobe a sort of co-petition approach, like not just working on your own project, but working together with others on a interdisciplinary or multi-chain projects. Yes. That's what we are observing. That's what is happening, and for the betterment of the ecosystem as a whole.
Okay.
So even the DLT Science Foundation is decentralized, if you want, in this respect, because we work together with the university network members that we are setting up, and the startup community and the developer communities in a kind of a circular type of collaborative approach.
What specific? You touched on there that things are going to be happening in the coming months to make it even more decentralized. Can you touch on that slightly?
Probably I cannot.
Okay, I knew that was going to be the answer, but I thought I'd try anyway.
Yeah.
So you advise through yourself personally and through UCL. You advise some of the most powerful people, governments, organizations in the world. What questions, what does that look like, and what are they asking you? What's their appetite for blockchain, which touches on our previous point about Dubai really taking a positive step forward to engage with community leaders, scientists, researchers such as your good self. But I know that you advise the UN and the British governments and lots of others. And are they waking up to blockchain? Are they realizing that it's an inevitable technology? And what does that look like when they're calling you in? What are they asking?
Yeah. Of course, they are doing quite a lot of things. Of course, there is we are in the if you look at the Gartner hype cycle. Everybody knows this, right? Mm-hmm. So we are in the so-called valley, if you want, of disillusion, because many people thought, okay, blockchain will give me the possibility to do X, Y, Z in a short time period and change the industry I'm working in, and so on and so forth. It's not like that, and for the good.
Yes.
And the fact that we are here, this means that now in this period, especially in the bear market, many companies have been working hard in achieving fundamental changes, structural changes. So they are very positive. There is a positive sentiment around this.
Really?
But but there is also an awareness that is not just as much as simple as switching on a new device, a new computer that will enable me to speed up my production process. It's not like that. Yeah. It's not like ChatGPT that will simply ask and will give me an answer in 2 seconds.
It's not like fiber optic broadband or something.
No, you need to build. It's a business process technology.
Yes.
You need to build together with different business areas a system that enable all the internal process, all the external process of the company to be optimized. So it's much different than this. But the companies, I'm talking with the people I'm talking to, they are aware about this. They realize that it's not a single tool. It's a tool that you need to complement together with potentially also other tools in the business process. Potentially we talk about AI. Yes. Potentially even with AI. And I've seen this convergence over the last years about AI and blockchain, and I'm really bullish about this. So I do expect that interesting innovations are happening, coming into the market in this year, next year. Something very, 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 very interesting that we didn't see before. So.
Okay, it's exciting times ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Where do you see Hedera Hashgraph in 5 and 10 years? The platform. What do you think it could or will become?
Well, this is a good question because there is a healthy competition in the blockchain space, and this is extremely good and positive. And I think there will be a kind of a consolidation in the industry. I'm not buying those that say there will be one blockchain that will rule the world. Many people back in time bet on Ethereum, right? It's not happening. We will have anyhow a consolidation, and of course this will be very beneficial even in terms of creating a solid industry perimeter that can
a standard of supplier
and can have a one single voice when it comes to collaborate with the regulators to design new rules and so on. I still see now a lot of fragmentation, right? So in the 5 years from now, we will see less fragmentation, more consolidation in the industry. Hedera will be, is a good question. I don't know where Hedera will be. Probably if we continue along this trajectory of decentralization, I see Hedera to become really an interesting blockchain in this respect, which will provide interesting security elements and some level of transparency and openness that are characteristics of Bitcoin, but with an industry glint, if you want, of perspective. This is
scale as well.
Yes,
that's the important thing.
That's something that I would like to see and do expect from it.
Okay. I know you probably can't answer for UCL or Hedera, but is there any company or organization out there that you would love to personally see join the Hedera Governing Council?
Well, as you may know, the current council members meet regularly to discuss different things. There is a specific committee which is called MAMCOM, and the members of the MAMCOM discuss exactly about these points. I'm not. I'm a member of this committee, but I'm not the spokesperson.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So
but I can speak for myself, and I can say yes. There are many industries, if you want, that from an industry category point of view, are not member of the council of the Hedera council now. So I would like, this is my aspiration. I would like to see more diversity, if you want.
Yes.
And that's my auspicious to have more diversity within the council members, so for opening up the doors to industry, to corporations that are coming from industries that are less represented.
Give me an example. What would be your You don't have to give me a company specific, but funny enough, Andrew of DLA Piper said, Andrew Gastworth said that he wanted to see a transportation business and named a couple of those. That he'd like to see transport as a governing council.
But for example, agri-food, I think, is not represented as an industry in the council member. So the agri-food sector is an interesting sector. For various reasons, right? Even beyond blockchain. So working together with some leader in that sector could help a lot with respect to many things, including food crisis and so on and so forth. So,
of course, yeah. Famine and tracking growth and all that sort of thing. Absolutely. That'd be really interesting. And there's also already some technologies in the ecosystem that could be applied, and you'd have some cross-network collaboration there that would be really interesting to see that scale. Yeah, that'd be good. What's one thing that you think that maybe people don't know about Hedera that you'd like them to? If there's one thing, if there's one thing everyone could know about Hedera Hashgraph, what would it be? There are,
I've been working with many industry, with top industry in the sector since many years, and most of them are very, top of the league, doing extremely interesting works in the space since many years. One characteristic that surprised me when I met Limon and he talked to me about the council, Governing Council, is the level of transparency they aim to achieve. So I never seen something like that in other organizations in this space. So they are quite transparent with respect to anything they do, starting not just from financials, but also with respect to the board, minutes, and all other documentation that they publish regularly on their website. So, and this is really positive because go back to the problem that I mentioned before of the asymmetry of information. If you break this problem of asymmetry information, and you can break this by providing more information to the public, then you are basically already solving a lot of problems, right? Which is basically the problem of disillusion, which is the problem of mispricing, if you want, is a problem of frauds and so on and so forth. So the more transparent you are, the better in this industry. And I think Hedera is a champion in this.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Knowledge is power. So if you can be transparent and give people the right information, they can make an informed decision.
Absolutely.
Which it's a good thing for people, the industry, but especially for Hedera.
Yes.
Because the more you learn about it, the facts, the more impressive actually it is, and the more I believe it's got a future.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's a good one. Do you own any NFTs?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
I do.
Do you have any particular favourites on Hedera, or do you just collect them as
I collect them as a collector, right? So I'm an old school collector of art, but I'm into NFTs since 2018, basically 2019.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear.
From different blockchains.
All different platforms.
Yes.
Fantastic. Are there any? Actually, you touched on that. Are there any other projects that you would like to mention that you think have either specialist or general? You said there'll be a consolidation. Are there any other projects that you think, those guys have got a really good chance of making it?
Yeah, if you look at very easy. If you look at the coin market cap and you put a line on the first 50, I think, that's we are.
I think there's some junk in there too, actually, if I was honest. But so you think because
there is already.
I'm surprised that's your answer, actually. Because there are some that aren't in the top 50 that I think, just because Hedera hasn't long been in the top 50, but when it was number 51, it was still the technology that it is today.
Yeah,
so,
but I think that period is ending.
Yes,
I think that the window to enter the top tier is narrowing.
It is narrowing, but I also believe that while things like Ethereum are in the top 5, then I think we're still not there yet, because I still don't understand why anybody uses it other than OpenSea. Personally, that's my personal opinion. I understand why people use it for OpenSea. I don't really understand. I can't comprehend why someone would choose that platform over many, many others. I have so many more questions to ask you, but I know you're very, very busy and important, so I'm going to let you go. But I do have one more question that I'd like to try and get you to answer. H-bar is currently 5 pence today. Do you think that's fair price?
Oh, I didn't see the price today. It's 5 pence. So
5 pence, yeah.
Okay. When it comes to determining the fair price in an equity market is already a challenge.
Correct. Yeah,
if you want to apply this to crypto, is even worse. We don't have models. We don't have established models in the economic literature, in the financial literature that say, okay, this is the right pricing model for crypto. There are some scholars that attempted to propose some pricing model for crypto, but there is no established consensus in the community around this. So when you come to me and say, okay, this is the fair price, I don't know. There is no good answer. Everything I can say is wrong, right? So we are still in the discovery part of the pricing for crypto, and this it's not easy challenge because crypto is different assets with respect to equity, quite different. And if you talk about crypto, you talk about NFT, you talk about also in that market, it's very difficult to define the price for those assets. So I think that there is a lot of volatility as it happening, in this period due to the macroeconomic uncertainty, and I think that there are some, of course, some assets that are more, they have a more they are more sensitive to the market, to the macro market movements than others. But I don't think this is a signal, a strong signal to take actions on this.
I'm smiling because that's probably, in fact, it definitely is the longest answer without answering the question I've ever had. So you've won that award. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I cannot get anyone official at Hedera or otherwise to tell me if when moon. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Next time I'm going to buy you a really nice glass of red wine.
Thank you.
And we're going to do the rest of this interview because I really would like to do a part 2, if that's okay with you. I know you very recently did a really, really in-depth and interesting energy consumption study, and I'd love to touch on that, but I assume we haven't got time now. Paolo, thank you so much for your time. It's an absolute pleasure. Wow. What a guy. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this as interesting as I did. And I'll chase Paolo all over the world. I've seen him in Davos, Paris, and I will find him again and I will pin him down and we will get to the bottom of some of these other really, really important and interesting topics. As always, thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you soon.